I'm a full-time music composer, also DJ. Been DJing for 20 years full-time. Before that, going back to my childhood, I was a drummer at a young age, about 12, 13 years old, 14 years old I think I was, maybe a little bit younger than that. I was a percussionist and drummer, so that I used to do a lot of that at home on my drum kit, and I was in a band. I was in a punk band at 12 years old, nearly got a record deal, but I actually didn't want to have a deal at that age. I think a lot of it was to do with the fact that I was into quite a lot of disco music as well, because I was brought up on disco, funk and soul as a kid. So I kind of got out of the record deal. I didn't want it. So I managed to crack on with playing the drums, and I had lessons as well to make me even more sort of experienced at it. But after that, I kind of sort of left the drums alone at sort of 15 years old. I think maybe it's because at the time there was like a craze that was sweeping the nation from America, which is obviously breakdancing. If you look back at history, around that sort of time, there's a lot of breakdancing going on. So I was involved in that with a lot of friends. I got into electronic music as well. So I went from like disco, funk and soul to electronic synth-based music. You had, at the time, there was a lot of bands like Human League and Depeche Mode that were quite big in the UK. So I was kind of into that. I didn't mind it, but then I was more into electro. So the massive dominance of electro music was taking over the UK from America. There was a company in the UK which was quite big, and they were called Street Sounds. Yeah, we had a lot of the albums we used to collect as young kids, and we used to tape each other's albums as well, which was totally illegal, but we used to do it anyway. But I remember the label saying "home taping is killing music," and that used to be on the back of them albums, because a lot of us used to do it. A lot of us used to actually do that. So, yeah, but it was very much a big factor in our lives. So as kids, you know, me and my friends. So I was into that. Got quite into DJing as well. So I was DJing at a young age, and had a couple of really old sort of decks, belt-driven decks. I think it was called an ice caravel. It was like a whole unit together, and I used to DJ on that at home. And then around about sort of 88, I left school and went on to working for a company called Kef. So we was making speakers. I was 16 years old, so I was making speakers there. I met a few guys that were working with me. I made friends with a few people there. That was the very start of the rave scene, and that was another trend that was coming over from America. As you know, if you look into the history of house music, it started off in Chicago. It came over to the UK, and it blew up. So we was having all-night raves. There's lots of legal acid house parties going on. I got involved in some of them. I was DJing at a few of them, and that sort of escalated and launched my career. But the problem is a lot of friends and family didn't really sort of think I'd make a go of it. They didn't think I'd make a living from it. I didn't at the time either, but I carried on cracking on with my belief and my goals of making a living from music. So what I did was, after working for Kef, I think I was there for about 7 years, and carried on with DJing. I went on from raves to clubs and bars, and made a bit of a slight living from that for a bit. I wasn't earning much money, but it was enough to sort of live on for a bit, and that sort of carried on with various sort of like opportunities, and clubs and bars every week. I built up a bit of a following locally within my hometown, in a wine bar. So I was playing a lot of house music there, because at that time I was also working full-time in a distribution company, a big distribution company based in Orpington in Kent, and I was there full-time selling dance music down the phone to independent retailers. And then I got promoted to field sales, where I was out and about driving around the southeast of England and parts of London, and I was selling the latest albums. So I used to get a lot of records from that, and a lot of CDs as well at the time. And I used to use that in my DJ sets, and also I used to get a lot of promos from record companies. So I'd get a lot of that as well, because I was actively DJing, and I used to have to fill in a reaction form every time they sent me vinyl, and I used to do a chart return every week as well. So I used to get all these promos for free, which is great. So fast forward to leaving Pinnacle, and then I set up my own DJ company. So I was going out doing private events, weddings, corporate events for quite a few years. Managed to launch the company, set up the website, paid for Google Ads. At that time, Google AdSense was quite early stages, so it was quite easy to get your business, your website seen by people. So at the moment it's a lot harder, but back then it was quite easy. So after AdSense was working for me for a bit, I got a lot of opportunities coming through. A lot of people ringing me up. My website was designed; it looked pretty good. I did it all myself. I learned everything. The business started coming in, so I went out and bought my own equipment. So sound and lighting, I bought that. Went out and started DJing, and it was full time. It was every week I was out there DJing. I don't know whether it was luck or not. I'm not sure, but I did events quite often that was coming in through advertising on Google, and then I was getting repeat bookings, and I was getting bookings from bookings, and it propelled from there. So yeah, that was basically how I became full-time. And then during the pandemic, we had to shut down for a bit. So a year and a half, shut down the DJ company for a year and a half because we couldn't go out and do that because of the pandemic. So a good friend of mine that I used to produce music with years ago in the 90s, Richard, he called me out of the blue and said, "How are you getting on? How are you dealing with this pandemic?" I said, "Well, I can't do anything." So lucky enough I had some savings, but I was also doing a bit of work for Asda, so I was driving a van for Asda, delivering food for a bit, just to get out of the house. But he called me, and I said, "What are you up to?" And he said that he was composing for TV. So I said, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And he said, "You should do it." And I said, "Okay, so what do I do?" So he told me what to do. He said he got to buy a book called The Composer's Guide to Library Music by Dan Graham, which I bought, and I read it from front to back, and then implemented some of the techniques and tips that Dan offered on the book. So I literally just started networking on Facebook. Every single day I was networking on Facebook, and built up thousands of followers, followers and likes, and friends, and started approaching a few. I added Dan as a friend on Facebook as well. And I started making some music which was more kind of TBQ, atmospheric tension stuff, and he actually, luck again I think, I'm not sure, but he actually liked some of the videos that I was doing. So I was doing like video shots of me in the studio, so I was making the music. I'd made some of the music, I was putting it up on Facebook as a video. He liked it. I named some of the tracks. He liked the names of the tracks, so I commented on the actual post, and I said to him, "Would you like me to send you some?" And he said, "Yes, please do. Please email me your tracks." So I sent him about 4 or 5, and he got back to me within about a couple of weeks and said that they're really good, but you need to edit them slightly differently. They just need to be shortened, and they have to edit points in there so that the editors can actually take bits out of the track. where they need to put it, if you know what I mean. So that was the start of my composing career, and I did end up doing about 3 albums with Dan. I also had an album with a company called Loaded Production Music, which was more tropical pop house stuff, and that was my first album actually, before I even put stuff out with Dan, because I approached Loaded Production Music because they're based in Kent, and I thought it'd be ideal to have a chat with them, and because I'm Kent based as well. So Loaded Production Music released a 10-track album of tropical pop dance, and one of the tracks on the album has been used for the last 4 years by BBC on their early morning show, and they do fitness to it. So it's been ongoing. It's been going for about, like I said, 4 years, on and off, kind of like not every single month, but I'd say like every other month they'll be using about 2 or 3 times a week. 2 or 3 times a month, and that's been, like I said, that's been ongoing. So it's amazing to see where your music ends up. And then I went on to writing another album for Colour TV, which is Warner Chappell, and that's more sort of based on a topic that I love, which is the paranormal and UFOs. I love UFOs, the whole alien topic, I love it. And it's quite a hot topic at the moment as well, with the American government looking into what the Navy are seeing on a daily basis in the skies all around. Won't go into that at the moment, but we'll be doing more videos on that, because I do love the paranormal and I love writing music for the paranormal. So I'm going to be going out on location and doing a few bits, videos as well, and me writing a few cues in strange, spooky locations. So that'd be quite interesting. But other than that, it's like I said, it's now full time, and I'm standing here in the beautiful Kent countryside. The sun is shining. It's quite warm on my face. It's January. It's cold, and I'm not in the rat race, not anymore. The 9 to 5 is gone, and I'm literally making money from DJing and composing music for TV, and also making dance tracks as well. I do a lot of dance tracks still. After all these years, I still do it. I still love it. So.